All right, folks, this is going to be a quick impromptu video on this tote that I made this summer. I'll put a link below on how I made it. There is a flaw there. As you can see, these worms aren't staying. Some of them are kind of going and hanging onto that duct tape. I thought that duct tape would help keep them from going up to the top there, but it doesn't work. But the beauty, the good thing about this is they're not, I don't see any around the bin ever. So the worms that do go up there, they stay there, but I'd like them to stay more in the bin. Anyway, this is all the wicking. That's a Canadian nightcrawler right there, by the way, which was kind of cool. That's got me thinking about a lot of stuff. But all the wicking material from my 2022 garden, when I took it apart at the end of the season, I threw all the wicking material into this bin because it had some baby worms on it and it had some cocoons on it. So I didn't want to dub around with it. So I says, what the heck, I'll throw it into this bin. So I'm looking at it, and then I brought it down into the basement so it wouldn't freeze. And by the looks of it, these worms are just producing more and more. It's kind of a good little thing. Clothing all day long, folks. I have a lot of 100% cotton, which totally is a great wicking material as well as a compostable, a carbon, if you will. Now, this is a synthetic. I think it's 66 acrylic, but most of it is a synthetic material. I've got 18% cotton, and I think there was some wool in there, right? That I throw into bins because the worms will totally eliminate the 100% cotton, as I've said. And the synthetic, they won't get, but it still adds moisture to the bins. So, and they do enjoy going around there. I do find some cocoons on there. So I like to put 100% cotton because that is totally a compostable, but the synthetic retains the moisture, and, the worms don't destroy that at all. And at the end, when it'll be just like a stringy type thing that you can throw away eventually. I like to put the synthetic, especially when you're doing house plants or planters that you're going to do for the long haul, and you're not going to take it apart for a couple of years. That synthetic does help retain the moisture in there, and it add some aeration without it packing down. But look at how beautiful these worms are looking in here. I can't see the cocoons too much, but the deeper I go down, the more worm life I see. So folks, composting clothing all day long, your jeans, your t-shirts that have all this print that you're no longer going to wear again, and don't just throw them away. And don't give them to the Goodwill, because Goodwill eventually, if nobody buys it, they throw it into the dumpster. Put it into your garden, put it into your beds, and use this as wicking material. It's just a great little secret that I don't think too many people know about. And of course, it's great in your worm bins to retain the moisture. The worms just love it. They create their cocoon. All right, there's some light on the subject. Holy smokes. So the deeper you go down, the more you see that these heavenly creatures are just enjoying their life down here. And all this clothing that was down lower, because it was layering. I did it not all at one time. I did it slowly. Clothing added, and as the end of the summer came, I ended up filling it to the top. So this stuff should be more done. And the worms are very deep down there. From all the stuff that I put in, from all my wicking material that I had. This thing here, I think, is more polyester and some wool than anything on this particular sweater here. So the remains of this thing will probably be just stringy material, is usually what's left on these. So clothing all day long, I guess is what I'm getting at with this video here. If you have an old t-shirts that people don't wear anymore, and the Goodwill isn't going to sell them, don't just throw them to the dump, guys. Feed them to your red wigglers. Look at this. This was probably 100%, maybe 50-50 t-shirt that is just being turned into worm castings. Here's one that was probably more cotton than polyester, but this is usually what you get left. So the beauty about these with the Eve growing is they're still wicking, because the synthetic still wicks somewhat or retains moisture somewhat, but the cotton is all eaten by the reds. But I like to do, when I do a tower, sometimes I like to do 50-50 because the wicking power still remains. So let's take a look at this thing here. I think this was the one that I was talking about. That's trying to see if I could see any cocoons, because sometimes clothing does stimulate the cocoons in here. But there's a lot of reds in here. I got a roll in here that I put in here. We'll talk about that kind of a roll later on in life. This was 100% cotton, and they're just doing a job on that. And what's this guy here? So they're just loving it, guys. And this goes all the way down. This one's full. So come spring, right now we're into December, almost into Christmas. So Merry Christmas if I don't get a chance to say it to all the people who like to follow my channel. So this is all, again, wicking material from all my grow towers. All that material, again, staying true to the fact that nothing wasted, all is sacred. And that is true with all kinds of stuff. See, that was from one of my buckets, no doubt. Bucket tower ones. Lots going to happen 2023, folks. Look at how this is going. This whole, all that is all castings down there. This is going to be all next year's soil amendment in the form of worm castings, right? And this, again, I'll close. This Angora I just put in there. I want to cover that back up with that. So here's how I basically do it. I put Angora over, I put the clothing like this, cover it up. I did put some aeration, Eve aerations. If you go to that video, I'll put the link below. And so here's a runner. Look at him going. He's trying to get away, but get back in there. So they do come on top of here, but they don't leave from this spot. I put this tape again because I didn't want them even climbing over this part, but they're still doing it. But they're not getting totally out, so that's not that big of a deal, I guess. Those pain worms with an E that like to venture out and make a major change in the colony or whatever they're doing. So basically I put that like that, and then I put plastic to retain that moisture. And these worms are just loving it. So that is my take on this Wheelie bin fermenting. And when it's all done, see, I won't add any more to this. So this will go down, and when it's time to collect, I'll use the light method. Actually, I'll just scoop it all out, dump it in a wheelbarrow on a nice, warm, sunny day, and I'll do the light method to get these to harvest, to separate the castings from the worms. That'll be sometime in the spring that I'll be doing that. So I've got all these here. I'm still doing fermenting. I don't have anything set up right now because it was all out back. I've been moving stuff around. I got into rabbits for a little bit, and then now I'm back to, I'm gonna go full force with breaking down compost using the red wiggler. So that's all I have to show you for now, but this is an update on this, how this Wheelie bin is doing. You know, these 55-gallon drums, I don't have a problem with worms getting around here because I just, this one doesn't even have any aeration, Eve aeration. It's just got one spot where you can allow any liquid. If you're running it too wet, which I try to run it dry, but sometimes I make the mistake, and you just drain that water out, that liquid slurry. And I've got a problem with these scutter flies or fruit flies or whatever we want to call them. I've got a major problem with these guys, so that is kind of not fun inside. So I don't recommend it. I do inside because I have a separate room that's from the house, but they can get kind of crazy. I don't like them at all. That's why I have my spiders. This one too. This is supposed to be. And also, in here, I don't know if you can see it, but I call it Providence of some kind because I do have, in here you can see it. There was a lot more, and I got to figure out how to see those black soldier flies. The creator of all is trying to say, Mark, you got to start working with these black soldier flies. Not in this one per se, but this one, this has dropped immensely. Let's see if I can open this up. I don't like them flying out because I really do want to figure out what to do with them. So, and they're all kind of, I think this is pretty much done. There is some worms in here. I've got to dump this one out sooner than later this week to take all this stuff out of here. And it was up to here. I didn't have this full, but everything that's in here now is simply just worm castings. And you could see, I think, a lot of these black soldier flies have died off and just went into the pit. So there's a larva right there. So I'm at 6 minutes. Can never do a short video. So that's it, folks. Stay tuned. Maybe I'll get into black soldier flies. Have a couple great ideas. I'll put a link below on this Karl. Oh, what the heck is your name, Karl? I'll put his link below. He does a great class on these soldier flies and the importance of them. And so a shout out to Karl. I met him on Clubhouse. Go to my link below and follow me on Clubhouse, and maybe you can join there and we could do some audio together. All right, this is it. I'm closing out. Hope everybody's well. Stay safe in these trying times. We will most certainly heal this planet one urban farmer at a time.